It's actually happened. Something that I really did not think would actually happen. The Senate in America has passed a bill that is going to ban TikTok. That's right. To me, this has been going on for a long time. The turmoil between whether TikTok should be banned in America or not has been going on for years now. Like, it doesn't seem like it has, but it has. Like the first thoughts and the first talks about like TikTok getting banned in America was all the way back when like Trump first came into office back in 2020. I remember him coming out when TikTok first started to get big during lockdown because everyone was sitting at home on their phones and doing fucking nothing. Is that he was the first one to come out and say that, like, TikTok should be banned. So this has been going on for years, but I actually didn't think that we'd actually see the day where the Senate in America would go ahead and actually pass this bill. Now, there are terms and conditions to this bill. Obviously, as you saw, I've put the article already up on the screen, where it says that unless the parent company of TikTok sells like the TikTok brand itself. Because if you don't know, if you want a little bit of more background on this, if you haven't been keeping up with it, is essentially that TikTok is owned by a Chinese-owned company. Its parent company is called ByteDance, and they have owned TikTok for many, many years now. I think they're the ones who have like originally owned TikTok. And basically is that these Americans, and not just America as well, because it's also the UK as well. I've also seen that the UK themselves is like, doing like supposedly like in the mix of like doing the same thing when it comes to banning TikTok. But essentially, Americans and like the people that are within the government were scared that because TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, is that whenever you sign up for any app, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more in a bit, is that app has your data. So whatever you're doing on the app, that company knows what you're doing. Whatever you give into that app, that company knows what you are doing. And pretty much America is scared that essentially that company ByteDance is going to go ahead and use their data and like give it to the Chinese government to then go ahead and use somehow against America, which to me, I think is really fucking stupid. Now, I think it's stupid to assume that, but at the same time, I'm not like that much political, and I'm not like, I'm not like America or like other people, even here in Australia. A lot of people are the same, but obviously this is taking place in America, so I'm going to say America, is that a lot of people in America, especially inside the government, because a lot of them are boomers, and I feel like they don't really understand this and haven't seen like the broad scale of it as well, is that they're scared of China. Like, they're scared of China. There's, like, pretty much, I would say, like, remember how there was the Cold War back in, like, the 70s and 80s between America and Russia? I feel like the Cold War has never really ended. It's kind of still going on. And if anything, it's kind of happening more between, like, America and China now. Is that they just kind of, like, just staring at each other for, like, all these years now and kind of going, like, you gonna fucking do something? Are you going to do something? So they don't like each other. And the fact that, this company TikTok is as big as they are, and then, they have access to all these users' data, and they're owned by a Chinese company, they're scared that the fact that, that company is then going to give the data to the Chinese government. Now, I think this is stupid for several reasons. But the main reason why I think that this is stupid is because I feel like they're just single targeting TikTok for no reason. For no reason. Like, yeah, TikTok is massive, and that's maybe why the reason that they're targeting it. But to me, they're going after TikTok because it's owned by a Chinese company, and they are scared that that company is going to give, like, the data to the Chinese government, like I've said already many times. But I find it weird for the fact that they're only singling out TikTok and not all these other companies. And one great company to say about this is Riot Games. Riot Games, one of the biggest gaming companies in the world. And if you don't know who Riot Games are, they are the owners and they are the makers and developers of League of Legends and Valorant. Like, those are two of the biggest games in the fucking world, especially League of Legends. League of Legends would have to be in like the top 5 biggest games in the world at the moment. And why would you say that, Donnie? Why is this a problem? Because Riot Games is owned by Tencent, and Tencent is a Chinese company. They're legitimately a fucking Chinese company. And you want to know what's even more worrying about this? Is that in Valorant, I don't think it applies to League of Legends. I think League of Legends has a different aspect. But if you download Valorant, the game automatically, and you can't play the game without it, downloads Vanguard, which is an anti-cheat. And that anti-cheat has kernel level access to your computer, which basically means that it has higher access than you do to your own software. If you're not that tech sound and you're like, oh, Donnie, that doesn't sound that bad, here's a clip of probably one of the most trusted software engineers on the internet, Pirate Software, who was a hacker for many years and worked in the gaming industry for Blizzard for many years. And he talked about his dislike of kernel level anti-cheat.
Kernel level anti-cheat gets full access to your machine, hardware and software. I don't like that. I'm a hacker. I've been a hacker for 20 years. Part of my job throughout that was working in the games industry. And working in the games industry, I banned over 2 million players. This is absolutely my realm of expertise. And I've never liked kernel level anti-cheat, ever. I think that it's ridiculous. No, it's not a necessary evil. There are so many other ways to do detection, and we have throughout the history of games. And I know that because I'm one of the people who helped write them. That was the whole point. I was one of the guys sitting there pulling down every bot that worked for every MMO that we worked on, everything at Blizzard, grabbed every single one of those, pulled it out into assembly, grabbed the code key from it, removed the polymorphic, found a way to fit it into Warden, and then banned hundreds of thousands of people. And you know what? We didn't need kernel level anti-cheat for that shit.
So, like, to me, the fact that there's all these other companies that are out there that are also Chinese companies or companies that are owned by Chinese companies, and they're just singling out TikTok, to me is absolutely baffling. You want to know what other company is owned by Tencent as well? 40% of Epic's games is owned by Tencent. That's right. Fucking Fortnite. The guys who made Fortnite, 40% of the company is owned by Tencent. Tencent would have more data than TikTok ever fucking would. You can't tell me that all the kids who plugged in their fucking mum's credit cards, they have their data. They know the fucking credit cards of everyone. They know all the data that you've put into that company. And they're worried just about fucking TikTok? And they're singling out TikTok? And to me as well, the thing that I find stupid is that, like, I know that the company ByteDance has come out and they've talked about how they've come out and they've said how they're not giving their data to the Chinese government, that the Chinese government has never asked for that data, and even if they did, they wouldn't give it to them anyways, which, I mean, the way that, like, China, they are a communist country, so it's hard to, like, say whether or not that is true or not, and even if it, like, was true that they haven't given it to them, I feel like if the Chinese government did ask, like, I don't know if they could really say no. I don't know, like, the full aspects. I'm not, you know, a Chinese government communist person expert. Like, I'm not Hassan Arbi, even though I used to be. You know, I have shaved my head now, so I don't look like him anymore. But there's also many other companies as well. Like, I don't trust, like, yeah, you could say that, oh, Donnie, I still don't trust TikTok. And you know what? I don't trust Riot Games either, because they're owned by these Chinese companies. You know what? I don't trust American companies as much as I would Chinese companies. I don't trust any TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat. When it comes to, like, you know, them using your data, I wouldn't trust them all equally. I'm not saying that I wouldn't use them. Of course I use them. I trust them to a certain level, but I also don't trust them on the certain level from, like, that I do trust TikTok. Do you get what I'm saying here? I'm kind of like, you know, it sounds like I'm not making sense, but in my brain, I'm kind of making sense. It's like, I trust these sites to a certain extent, but I don't trust them to a certain extent as well. And I put something like TikTok on the same level that I put Facebook and Snapchat, because those are two examples of companies who also use and collect your data. And do you really think that just because they're a American-owned company, that they're on using your data for the good of freedom, for the good of the country? Fuck no. They're using it for their own benefit. That's what they're using your data for. That's what TikTok uses your data for. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, anything that you sign up for, they are using your data to their own benefit. They don't give a fuck what country you're from or where they are from. They're using your data because they can, because it's in their terms and conditions, because they made it so. So to me, targeting TikTok, to me, is kind of fucking stupid. And obviously TikTok themselves have come out and they've said that they are going to fight the US ban, and they even are stating that they might actually, you know, be forced to sell the company after the bill is passed. And, you know, obviously one person who's been big in this whole entire like dispute of whether TikTok should be banned or not is the CEO of TikTok. And he himself, like, he has come out many times and stated that he, like, you know, is in the good for just the company and wanting to do good by TikTok. And I remember when it was going on, like the whole dispute of where he was like in the courts of America. I don't know if it was the exact court or he was in the Senate, and they kept questioning him or whether he's Chinese or not. And he's actually like, he's Singaporean. So I don't see any reason for him to like actually be in cahoots with the Chinese government. Also considering that like Singapore's foreign relations is good with, like, they have foreign relations with the UK, Malaysia, Australia, and New Zealand in this like five-power defense arrangement. They have like good relations with China, but I mean, when it comes to like the Chinese government, you'd kind of want to have good relations with them anyways, because I mean, it's the Chinese government. They don't like many people. So, I mean, it's good to... I feel like it's, you know that saying where it's like, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer? Well, I mean, that's... If you don't like China, I think it's a good idea to fucking keep them, like, as in good relations with yourself so they don't just come off and fucking bomb you. But I definitely think that this bill being passed is absolutely stupid. This is going to, like, make a lot of people... Because, like, a lot of people have made a living off TikTok. A lot of people still make a living off TikTok. And if the bill does get passed, which... I mean, if you had to tell me 5 years ago, like, that something like this is happening, I wouldn't believe you. Like, but now I can very, very much see this getting put through. 100%. I could see that this bill, because like, even though the bill has been passed and it's been signed, I think it has to go through like one more level. I think it has to go through Joe Biden himself. I think when a bill gets passed through the Senate, it then has to go through the president in order for him to like sign off on the bill. I'm pretty sure that that's how like the bill passing, all of that works. So it still has to go through one more level. But I mean, Sleepy Joe will sign anything at this point. I mean, they just put something in front of him and just say, Joe, sign it. It's good for the country, and just... But if it does get banned, do not send all your cringe TikTokers over to here in Australia. We don't want them. We'll take a few of them. We'll take Lean Beef Patty, Max Taylor Lifts. We could take the Trend Twins as well. I mean, the Trend Twins are pretty cool. We'll take a few other creators as well, but anything like Charlie D'Amelio or Bryce Hall or any of those people, yeah, you can send them over to the UK. I'm pretty sure the UK will definitely 100% take those guys. But the rest of them, the ones that are pretty chill, I mean, Joe Bartolozzi, you can send him over to Australia too. But the rest of them, just please send them over to the UK. I'm pretty sure that the UK will take them. But I'd like to hear what you guys have to think about this down below. And that's it from me. Peace out.